sacred city of Mecca, where the story of faith began, there lived a man whose loyalty and wisdom would shape the course of Islamic history. This is the remarkable story of Hazrat Abbas. May Allah be pleased with him. Hazrat Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was blessed with 10 sons. Among them, 4 names would echo through history: Abu Lahab, Abu Talib, Hazrat Hamza, and Hazrat Abbas. May Allah be pleased with them. When the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, received the divine revelation and announced his prophethood in Mecca, the response from the city's leaders was immediate and hostile. The great chieftains of Mecca united in their opposition, and among the Prophet's harshest opponents was his own uncle, Abu Lahab, a harsh and cruel man who constantly sought to harm the Prophet, peace be upon him. But in all of Mecca, the Prophet's greatest support came from his noble uncle, Abu Talib, a man of mercy and kindness, who stood as a shield against every enemy. And within a few years, the first uncle to embrace Islam, Hazrat Hamza, may Allah be pleased with him, a warrior of great courage and strength. And now, only one uncle remained, Hazrat Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, a successful businessman, intelligent and wise, who secretly helped the Prophet, peace be upon him, while remaining silent in public. He provided help in the shadows, offering support without drawing attention, protecting the mission of Islam from within. But then came a moment that would change everything. Abu Talib, the Prophet's greatest protector, passed away from this world. After his death, the persecution of Muslims intensified. Living in Mecca became unbearable. The Prophet, peace be upon him, began planning the Great Migration. He sent companions to different Arab cities, and he himself journeyed toward the city of Taif. And we all know what happened in Taif, a trial that tested faith itself. After the ordeal of Taif, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, returned to Mecca, it seemed there was no way forward. But suddenly, one day, a group of people from a small Arab city called Medina came to Mecca for Hajj. Some of them requested a secret meeting with the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the darkness of night. The Prophet accepted. As night fell over Mecca and the city slept, 73 men and 2 women from Medina secretly left their camp. They made their way toward a mountain in Mecca to a secret meeting place. When they arrived at the meeting place, they saw 2 figures approaching. One was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the other was his uncle, Hazrat Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, leader of Banu Hashim and the great protector after Abu Talib. Hazrat Abbas stepped forward and spoke to the people of Medina. He said, "O people of Medina, if you take my nephew with you, all of Arabia will turn against you." And the people of Medina replied, "We are a warrior community. We will protect him with the last drop of our blood." And thus began the migration. Soon after the meeting, the migration began. All the Muslims left Mecca and journeyed toward Medina. But Hazrat Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, did not migrate. He remained in Mecca. And now begins the most fascinating part of this story. Hazrat Abbas was such a man in Mecca who knew every piece of news, every secret, before anyone else. By staying in Mecca, he would send every piece of news, every plan of the Quraysh, secretly to Medina, so that the Prophet, peace be upon him, would already know the Muslims were always one step ahead. Hazrat Abbas meant that he was a very secret agent of the Prophet in Mecca, whom no one knew about, not even the Muslims. Soon after the Muslims reached Medina, the time came for the first battle, the Battle of Badr. Before the battle, the Prophet, peace be upon him, gathered all the companions and began planning for the war. In this war council, all the companions were ready to fight their own families in Mecca, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, told them, "No companion will kill anyone from my family, Banu Hashim." After this meeting, a companion came out and told his friends, "This is strange. We will fight our own families, but we must spare Banu Hashim." When Hazrat Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, heard this, he asked permission from the Prophet, "Let me deal with him." But the Prophet stopped him. A few days later, when both armies met face to face on the battlefield, everyone in the Quraysh army was from a different tribe, but only 3 people from Banu Hashim had come to fight. One of them was Hazrat Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him. As the battle started, Muslims were fighting their own family members, but every Muslim was very careful, staying away from the people of Banu Hashim. After a long and difficult battle, the Muslims won, a victory granted by Allah. When the Muslims gathered all the prisoners, they saw among them the uncle of the Prophet, peace be upon him, Hazrat Abbas. The Prophet, peace be upon him, made a decision that every prisoner could free himself by paying a ransom. The Prophet, peace be upon him, went to Hazrat Abbas and told him to pay the ransom. But Hazrat Abbas said, "Why should I pay ransom? I am already a Muslim." The truth was, Hazrat Abbas had accepted Islam 2 years earlier, during that first secret meeting with the people of Medina. But Hazrat Abbas stayed in Mecca to become something extraordinary. It is said that Hazrat Abbas was the kind of man in Mecca who knew every piece of news first. And now, by staying in Mecca, he would secretly deliver every piece of information to Medina. That's why, from the Battle of Badr, in the very first war council, the Prophet, peace be upon him, had told the Muslims, "Do not fight against the people of Banu Hashim," because the Prophet, peace be upon him, did not want his important agent, Hazrat Abbas, to be killed in this war. He had to remain safe for the intelligence work. But now, when Hazrat Abbas was captured and accepted that he was already a Muslim, the Prophet, peace be upon him, told him, "It doesn't matter that you are Muslim. You will still pay the ransom. Allah will give you your reward. But here you must pay the ransom." And the Prophet sent Hazrat Abbas back to Mecca again to continue helping the Muslims in Medina with secret intelligence. That's why the next year, when the second war began, the Battle of Uhud, the Prophet, peace be upon him, already knew everything about the entire Meccan army, because Hazrat Abbas was secretly sending details from Mecca. And likewise, in the Battle of the Trench, the Prophet, peace be upon him, was always one step ahead of the people of Mecca, all thanks to the secret intelligence from Hazrat Abbas. And finally, the day came that all Muslims had been waiting for, Fath Makkah, the conquest of Mecca. The Prophet, peace be upon him, marched from Medina to Mecca with 10,000 Muslims, an army so vast that conquest was inevitable. And there, in Mecca, Hazrat Abbas understood that he could no longer hide. His secret mission was about to end, so he left for Medina with his family. And on the way, he met the Muslim army returning to conquer Mecca. And thus, Mecca was conquered, and the secret agent could finally join his brothers openly. A few days after the conquest of Mecca, another great battle began between the Muslims, Battle of Uhud. And this was the first war in which Hazrat Abbas would no longer fight as a spy, but as a warrior. The Muslims were rapidly advancing toward their enemy, but as soon as the Muslims reached the middle of the pass between these two mountains, there came a rain of arrows upon the Muslim army. So many arrows rained down that the entire Muslim army left the battle and began to retreat. Seeing this, the entire enemy army attacked the Muslims, but as they advanced, they were shocked to see that while the entire Muslim army was fleeing, there stood just one man with his companions, bravely holding his ground, and he was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Seeing this, the entire enemy army immediately attacked the Prophet, peace be upon him, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, instead of retreating, began moving forward toward the enemy. As the Prophet, peace be upon him, was advancing, his uncle, Hazrat Abbas, trying to stop him from going forward. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, dismounted from his horse and again began moving toward the enemy on foot. And while advancing forward with such vigor, he was saying, "Ana an-nabiyyu la kadhib, ana ibn Abdul Muttalib." I am the Prophet, and this is no lie. I am the son of Abdul Muttalib. Then the Prophet said to Hazrat Abbas, "O Abbas, call the Muslim army back to the battle." Because you see, Hazrat Abbas was still a young man at that time, and he was only 4 years older than the Prophet, peace be upon him. Hazrat Abbas began calling the Muslims with his powerful voice, "Ya Ashab as-Samura, Ya Ashab Surat al-Baqarah," calling them by their groups and positions. And he called out, "O Muslims, where are you going? Your Prophet is here. Come back." Hazrat Abbas himself narrates, "As soon as my voice reached the Muslim army, everyone turned their camels at that very moment, and they began running at full speed to save the Prophet. There were some companions who couldn't even turn their camels, so they left them and ran on foot toward the Prophet, peace be upon him." In a very short time, the 12,000-strong Muslim army had returned to fight. The Muslims won this battle. After winning this battle, the Prophet, peace be upon him, returned to Medina with his companions. and this time he brought his uncle, Hazrat Abbas, with him. He built a house for Hazrat Abbas near Masjid Nabawi. In fact, the Prophet, peace be upon him, with his own blessed hands, installed a water pipe on the roof of Hazrat Abbas's house. This water pipe was used to drain rainwater from the roof. Imagine the Prophet's own blessed hands installing this for his uncle. As Hazrat Abbas came to Medina, after some time, his beloved nephew, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, departed from this world. But Hazrat Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, even after the passing of the Prophet, continued to serve the Muslim community. His son, Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, became one of the greatest advisors and scholars during the era of the rightly guided caliphs. But during the caliphate of Hazrat Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, a disagreement arose between Hazrat Abbas and Hazrat Umar. One day, Caliph Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, was going from his house toward the mosque. As he was passing by Hazrat Abbas's house, dirty water from the roof's water pipe fell onto Hazrat Umar's clothes. Seeing this, Hazrat Umar went to Hazrat Abbas's house and told him to move this water pipe to the other side. But Hazrat Abbas went straight to the court of Medina and filed a case against Caliph Umar. As soon as the case started, the judge of Medina ordered Caliph Umar to come to the court. As soon as Caliph Umar reached the court, Hazrat Abbas told the judge, "Umar changed the water path in my house without my permission." Hazrat Umar replied, "I did this so that the Muslims wouldn't have any trouble." But Hazrat Abbas told Umar that this water path was not common. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, built this house for me, he installed this water pipe with his own blessed hands, and today you changed it. On hearing this, Hazrat Umar withdrew from his position and lost the case to Hazrat Abbas, and he went straight to Hazrat Abbas's house. He came near and told Hazrat Abbas, "Mount this pipe on my shoulders and put it back the way the Prophet, peace be upon him, had installed it." But only a few years later, Hazrat Abbas handed over this house to the Caliphate, and Hazrat Umar built expanded Masjid Nabawi, demolishing this house and all the houses nearby. And finally, during the period of the third Caliph, Hazrat Usman, Hazrat Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, departed from this world. It is said that at the funeral of Hazrat Abbas, so many people gathered in Medina that there was no place to even set foot in the cemetery. And even in this crowd, people loved Hazrat Abbas so much that everyone was trying somehow to reach Abbas's grave. Even Caliph Usman was caught in this crowd, after which Hazrat Usman called the Medina authorities and ordered them to move the people away from Hazrat Abbas's grave and leave only Banu Hashim to bury Hazrat Abbas. And thus, the uncle of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Islam's first secret agent, and the upcoming grandfather of the Abbasid Caliphate, Hazrat Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, was buried in Medina. After the death of Hazrat Abbas, slowly and gradually, the rightly guided caliphate ended in the world, and a new government was formed in the Muslim world. The Umayyad rule began, and for the next several years they ruled. But almost 100 years after their rule, only the descendants of Hazrat Abbas, some people rose against the Umayyad family. They revolted and took away all the rule from them, and they created a new caliphate in the world. They named the caliphate after their own grandfather, Hazrat Abbas. And this caliphate was named the Abbasid Caliphate. And this caliphate, as soon as it came into the world, created its new capital, Baghdad. And from here, a new era began in the Muslim world, which is still known as the Islamic Golden Age. From a secret agent in the shadows of Mecca to the grandfather of a dynasty that would illuminate the world with knowledge. This was Hazrat Abbas. May Allah be pleased with him, a man of wisdom, a warrior of courage, an uncle of unshakable loyalty. Legacy shaped centuries of Islamic civilization. May Allah be pleased with him and grant us the ability to learn from his example. Ameen.